This is the West Coast. Where do we start here? So I guess to continue the westerly push, there's really two main ways that grapes came to America and California. Let's talk about California specific. Obviously, we're going to get in depth here with California, which is really, really important. I know that, I come from like Chicago, where it's like very, very, like all the European chefs kind of stop in New York and Chicago. So you're always talking Europe and always talking Europe, but I really wanted to move out here so that I could just immerse myself in California because it's really pretty incredible. But with that being said, the two main ways that grapes came over here was number one, in the 1700s, actually 1600s, the missions and the mission grape, which the mission grape came from Spain. Does anybody know about the missions and the mission grape? It's part of California history. I think we're all pretty familiar. Yeah, so with that being said, the mission grape was brought by the Spanish and then kind of came up through Mexico, what is now Mexico. And it's really cool. These areas, you might think like, what's going on? Like New Mexico here has been planting grapes since the mid 1600s. Texas, first Vitis vinifera grapes in the 1600s as well. And Southern California was way, way, way further along than Northern California. I know all the respect goes to like Napa and Sonoma for the most part, but SoCal was way, way far ahead. We even work with one vineyard site right now that's in Rancho Cucamonga, believe it or not. It's a 100-year-old vine, Zinfandel. It's right on the corner of like the 15 and the 215. Like if you drive to Las Vegas, it's like right out there. There's really, really old vines that, what do you think is the biggest problem with that? It's definitely urban expansion. They're crushing them. Like a vineyard site that you're gonna make pennies here as opposed to building, these new townhomes or this new subdivision that you're gonna make, 100 times the money. It's pretty incredible. The other way that things came about was from the gold rush in the mid 1800s? Yeah, 1849. Obviously, the gold rush. Zinfandel is really, really heavily planted in Northern California. Lots of 100-year-old, 120, 130-year-old vine Zinfandel. Lots of Italian immigrants that brought that vine. Started in Croatia, went to Italy, and then kind of really like the unsexy way to talk about Zinfandel is that it all kind of came through New Jersey. I mean, that's not sexy, right? But it did. All those immigrants kind of came through and then brought their vines. Everybody, whether you were from Germany, which the Germans really settled heavily in Napa Valley, where you'll find Krug. The Italians settled pretty heavily in what is now Sonoma County, where you find people like Sebastiani. And it's pretty interesting in that way. So we've really been making wines here for a couple of 100 years, but obviously with Prohibition and everything that happened, there's been a lot of problems along the way.